Thank you so much, Shivani. Everyone give her a round of applause. Really appreciate that introduction. That was way better than anything that I can do. So I really appreciate you bringing that energy and that information. 35th anniversary in-person event coming up. Those are really important details. Thank you so much. Well, now that we know the mission of a Toastmasters Club, each meeting could only run with the help of several talented facilitators and leaders that are doing support roles during the course of the meeting. At the introduction right now, we're going to have each of those role fillers, or those that are leading the way in this meeting, to describe their roles and before the meeting gets underway. I'd like to start with our timer for this meeting, who is our Division B Director and Club Growth Director-elect, Distinguished Toastmaster Lois Margolin. Will you please describe your role as timer for the meeting?
I will gladly do so. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, my fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. I have the most important job in the entire meeting. My role is to keep track of all the individual speeches and make sure that they end on time. Without me, there would be mayhem and we would be here till midnight. That's why I have the most important role. Back to you, Austin.
Thank you so much, Lois. And as you could tell, one of the commonalities in a Toastmasters meeting is we usually give a round of applause before anyone speaks, after they speak, as a common courtesy. If we were in person, you'd really feel the love, but please feel free to do the international symbol for clapping. You could actually do a clap, or use that nifty little emoji right there of the clap. We do that as a sign of respect and to encourage those to return to speak in public. We'll now move on with our grammarian, who is Jonathan Jean-Francois. Correct, Jonathan? Will you explain your role as grammarian?
Thank you, Austin. Good afternoon, confrères et consoeurs. My name is Jonathan Jean-Francois, and as the grammarian, my duty is to make sure all the speakers observe the proper diction of the English language. There will be a word of the day used. I am posting it in the chat right now. The word of the day is moonshot, a challenging and innovative undertaking. For example, starting a new Toastmasters Club can be considered a moonshot. Please make sure to use this word during your speech. Back to you, Austin.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Jonathan is also serving this year as one of our area directors. Thank you so much for helping us out today in your role as the grammarian. We also have an ah counter. You may know this confrere well. Felicia Taylor, will you please describe your role today as our ah counter?
Absolutely, Austin. Thank you so much. I have the honor of being the ah counter. So if you have a fear of being judged, I am going to help you get over that. The number of ahs or filler words that you may use, and those type words. I'll be counting those words and I'll let everyone know how many of them that you had during your speech. Austin, back over to you.
Thank you so much, future Toastmaster Taylor. Really appreciate it. Normally when we're in person, there's a little bell that we would ring to bring it to your attention, not to scare you, just to make you aware that you're using parts of speech that probably are not necessary. The ah counter is one of those great tools that we use. Once you hear that bell, you'll never be able to stop hearing it. When you listen to interviews, you hear people speak in public. The ah counter is a really important role. Don't fear the ah counter. And we also have our general evaluator of the meeting, and we have Eugenio Jaramillo, one of our area directors as well. Distinguished Toastmaster Jaramillo, will you please describe your role as our general evaluator for this meeting?
Certainly, Mr. Toastmaster. It's my honor to lead a portion of the meeting that was brilliantly designed by our founder, Mr. Ralph Smedley. Feedback. We humans need feedback in order to grow. So the beautiful part is that there will be an evaluator for today's speaker. That person will give suggestions, opportunities for improvement, and some feedback to the speaker to improve the speaker and his or her speech. And the other part is me, as the general evaluator, will evaluate all the meeting, and I'll get back to you guys later.
Thank you so much, Gino. Greatly appreciated. Much like what we experience anytime we have a technical difficulty, like when our camera doesn't work or something like that, we roll with the punches. And right now, our formal speaker is not yet here, but that's okay because we have a backup plan in place for another speaker in the event that he does not show up. In the event he does, I would like us to do table topics first in this meeting. That way we can get with the impromptu speaking, get some of those butterflies out of our system and let them fly wildly. It's not a moonshot for you to deliver a table topic. So please be optimistic about how well you are going to feel after table topics occurs. Before I call on our topics master, Toastmaster Margolin, will you please display the timing signals for a table topic?
Absolutely, sir. Table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I'll start with this. At 1 minute, you'll see the green light. That means you've hit the minimum requirements. At 1.5 minutes, the yellow light, which means start to wrap it up. And at 2 minutes, you will see the red light. You are done. And at 2:30, I will politely clap you off. Back to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Lois. 1 to 2 minutes. What is that really? Think about all the things you could do in 1 to 2 minutes. You got this, not a moonshot. Okay, I'm going to call on our topics master for the evening. You may know her quite well. Toastmaster Marilyn Hugh, will you please take over as our topics master for this meeting?
Thank you, distinguished Austin Toastmasters. My job as a table topic master is to pick topics and call on people. So like Austin said, you have 1 to 2 minutes to elaborate. You can, if you don't like the topics, you are welcome to find your own topics and just talk whatever. As long as you finish, you see the red light, and you are welcome to just get out. I'm going to start calling on somebody who kind of I know to start with, and I'm hoping everybody can try. Of course, we have about 59 people. I'm not going to call on everybody. However, I'm going to try to call as many as we could in order to wait for our speaker. The first topic is this. And can somebody tell me why the reason we do table topics is because it kind of help us to think on your feet. Just imagine your boss asks you a question and you need to be able to respond properly, right? So that's the skill that we are trying to cultivate. The first question is, when was the last time you tried something new? Can I call John?
Thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate that very interesting question. It's definitely a good one. Well, I will say this. I recently tried roller skating after a hiatus of many, many years. And I must say, it did not turn out very well. I actually gave a speech on this topic. I did take my kids and we had the safety talk in the drive over. It was a Galaxy roller skating ring here in South Florida. And of course, I told my kids, whatever you do, don't fall down. And as soon as we got there, guess what I did? I fell down and I fell hard. I fell backwards. I broke my funny bone. And let me tell you, breaking your funny bone is not funny at all. You may be familiar with the guy who roller skates around. He's wearing the black and white striped shirt with the whistle. Well, he put the cones around me because I was pretty much stuck there on the floor, rolling around, wallowing in pain. But what I want to tell you is after all of this, I got back up again. I've tried again roller skating. I wear all of the safety equipment. It's been going really, really well. And I just want to say that's how life is. It's not about succeeding every single time. It's about how hard you fall and how well you get up once you do fall down. So get out there and roller skate, but make sure you wear a helmet and all of your safety equipment. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, John. If you had to teach something, what would you teach? Tina.
So I teach people every day. So what would I like to teach people? How to think high level, how to get out of the rabbit hole, how to stop being so granular. Example and point, what color is the grass? Is it really that important that it's yellow and brown? Really, it's green. How is the color of the sky? It's about how to keep everyone on level set before we get lost in the weeds. And that's what I would teach everyone.
Thank you, Tina.
I just talk fast, sorry.
That's all right. I love this topic. When is it time to stop calculating your age. William, Mr. Kennedy.
I would say it's never, you should never have a when to stop. Because if you stop, you may be dead. So with that said, you should always be learning every day something new. You should challenge yourself. If you're not, you're in trouble. If you're not growing every single day, then what are you doing? If you're not going forward, which way are you going? You should be able to wake up every single morning happy that you're alive and target, at least think about, contemplate, whether you call it meditation or just some quiet time, some quiet thoughts. What are you going to do today? What are you going to achieve today? What are you happy about? At the end of the day, can you reflect? Here's what I wanted to do, and here's what I did do. Think about that when we're driving, whether it's to work, to school, to the store. We know where we're going. We have a starting point, we have an ending point. If there's a delay in the road, we have to figure it out. Do we go a different way? If it's traffic, we have to stop. Can we utilize that time? If we're sitting in a car, are we listening to something? Are we educating ourselves every single day as though we're in college and we never, ever, ever stop? So every day you should be learning, growing, and go with it. Quick example. I was asked to be the district conference chair. I said, I thought whoever had that role was crazy. Yet I viewed it as a project since I'm a project manager, and it was very successful. We had the highest attendance in our district that we ever had. So again, with age, everything else, you should never, ever stop. Somebody gives you something, you should take it, use it, benefit from it, and share it with others. One thing that I need help on, because I'm not going to stop, I am a DTM, but I need help on pathways. So if anybody could help me, just like my age, never going to stop. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Thank you, William. I think our speaker is already arrived. Shall we jump to the speeches? Or shall we continue?
I think we could do at least one more. Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more. What makes you smile? How? I don't know how to spell sword.
I wasn't sure if you were talking to me. Yep.
Yeah, so sorry. Yes, it's you. I'm looking at you. Would you mind sharing?
Not at all. I'm glad to. What makes me smile is really looking at success. I think about projects I've been on, projects I've run, the moonshot projects, trying to get word of the day fit into a table topic, getting through pathways. I can relate to William's comment about pathways. I struggle with that too. But it's really about seeing success. When I see a project or I see anything I'm doing create success for somebody else, it makes me feel good. I'm able to smile and I'm able to look at that and say, this is because of work we've done, whether it was something I was able to push forward or it's something we worked on collaboratively. It's always so much better when you collaborate on things and you drive those things. It creates an even bigger smile. And especially as you work through different programs, seeing whether it's a new Toastmaster club coming online or something at work or something in my personal life, just driving that success, seeing other people embrace it and be successful as well, especially when we start looking at the bigger projects and reaching for those moonshot projects and those moonshot goals, we're able to really pull things together and get an incredible smile going. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Well, thank you so much. I know my topics were not really moonshot. Great job, everybody. And thank you for your participation. Back to you, Austin.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. Everyone give her a round of applause for a wonderful job as our topics master. Excellent questions that everyone could jump to a logical conclusion or have an opinion on. And we had some really, really wonderful table topics. Also, kudos to everyone that participated in table topics today. You proved that it is not a moonshot to face that fear of public speaking, or just get a little bit better of public speaking if you don't have any fears or qualms about speaking in public. Number one fear worldwide, by the way. As Marilyn stated, we do have our speaker here today for the formal speeches. So again, to reiterate, formal speeches are prepared speeches that our Toastmasters give based on that Pathways program that distinguished Toastmaster Kennedy had described, and Howard also, Toastmaster Swirldoff, had described as well. But Pathways is great. It's module based, it's customizable depending on what you're interested in, and it's a great way to guide you along your journey of being a more proficient speaker. I'd like to ask Mo aloud. Mo, do you have a specific project that you're working on for this speech? Because if so, we can give those project details. You're muted, Confrere. Somebody is not muted.
All right. I'm unmuted now. Good evening. Yes, it's about coaching, about sharing information, coaching.
Okay, absolutely.
That's my path.
Okay, that sounds really, really good. Before we get into the formal speech, this is going to be a 5 to 7 minute presentation. Lois, will you please display those timing signals for our formal speaker?
Absolutely, sir. At 5 minutes, you will see the green. At 6, you will see the yellow, and at 7, you will see the red, and at 7 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll see the clock. Back to you, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Margolin. Everyone sit back, relax, and enjoy for this formal presentation by distinguished Toastmaster and former fellow project manager, not former, he's still very much so managing projects, distinguished Toastmaster Mo Haji.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good evening, PMPs, PGMPs, PFMPs, PMI ACPs, PMP PPAs, PMI RPMs, PMI SPs. For those of you who are non-PMI members, you don't know what that means? I've just greeted everyone here with their PMI credentials.
Not everyone, Mo.
For those of you who are Toastmasters, good evening, DTMs and fellow Toastmasters. Mr. Mike Sanborn once said, in teamwork, silence is not golden. It's deadly. And George Bernard Shaw once said, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Tonight, I want to talk to you about Toastmasters and my personal journey as a project manager, as a PMP, and also as a Toastmaster. But let me ask you this question first. By show of hands, who wants to practice public speaking? And who wants to improve their communications and build their leadership skills? All right, that's practically everyone that I can see here. Excellent. So let me just give you my journey as a project management professional. I got my PMP certification on June 2010, almost 11 years ago. And I've been a member of PMI since. Now, when I got my PMP about 11 years ago, I felt great. I said, I can do anything. I'm a project manager now. So I got hired. The first project that I got was to kind of review this organization's overall strategy and come up with a report. So I was put in a little office and I have interviewed everybody, talked to everybody, came up with a nice little report for the organization, for the director that I was reporting to. And then after a few months of working with this organization, I was told my contract is over. I said, okay, well, thank you very much. I gave you, you got what you wanted, which is a nice little report. And then I said, okay, what's next? I got a job with one of the big companies locally here. And I said, well, I'm a PMP. I can manage any project. But guess what happened? I was managing a software development team, and they had a very senior analyst that was working with the team, that was gathering all the requirements, that was creating the, what they call the, those days, this is years ago, the project, what do they call it? The project, the document that has all the requirements that the customer has to sign and so forth. I forgot the name. But anyway.
Requirement.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So that was what she was working on. I came, I'm the PMP, I'm the project manager. I came to a discussion that she had, the analyst had with the developers. She looked at me and said, this is only for developers. This is very technical. I said, okay, so it's technical. I'm an electrical engineer. I've got engineering degree. I'm technical. No. This is software development. This is not engineering. You need to get out of here. I said, why? No. We will let you know the percentage completion. You just want your report, right? Yeah, we'll let you know. So that was my experience in dealing with software developers and systems analysts and team members. It's like, what is going on? What is happening here? So it was a rude awakening for me. I stayed with that organization almost a year. And then, of course, my contract ended. I got laid off. I said, well, I need to really learn something about communication. So I said, where can I learn how to communicate? Not only with my team, but with the stakeholders, with management, with everyone. Where can I go to learn this skill? Someone said, hey, you need to look into Toastmasters. So a year later, practically a year later, in April of 2011, I joined Toastmasters. I joined Weston Toastmasters. I remember coming to Weston Toastmasters and saying, hey, I can speak. I'm a project manager. Come on, I can do anything. So I said, well, I want to give my first speech. And I didn't know anything. I said, well, sign me up. So they signed me up. Okay, what do you want to talk about? Well, I'm going to talk about my journey and coming to America many years ago as a young immigrant. So after almost 15 to 20 minutes and nobody stopped me, I was talking and talking and talking and talking. And finally, when I finished my speech, I was given evaluation. It was a little rude awakening. And they told me, oh, you use all of these crutch words. You did not look at the timing. You were supposed to give 4 to 6 minute speech, and all of these things that I have to learn and in presenting my speech. So it was quite a rude awakening. And I said, okay, now I really need to learn. I need to learn how to give a public speech. I need to learn how to grab my audience. I need to learn hand gestures, facial expressions, body movements, and so many things. So it was a long journey. I mean, I've been a Toastmaster now almost 10 years now. And I have not looked back. It has been an amazing experience. Not only have I learned public speaking, but I've also learned that leadership, because in Toastmasters, you take roles. You volunteer to take a role within your club. You take roles within your area. You take roles within your division as you go up and in the district. So managing people that do not report to you is what I have learned in Toastmasters. Managing people that you're not a boss is what I have learned. And also interacting, getting your message across, building consensus, it has been an amazing journey for me. Overall, both project management and Toastmasters have been my career in the past, I would say 12 years now, although I've managed projects prior to that. I was working for the Navy and I managed some projects within the Navy, but I didn't have my credentials then. But overall, it has been a great journey. One thing that I would like to leave you with is that there is not a light at the end of the tunnel. You are the light, fellow Toastmasters, fellow project managers.
Thank you so much for that presentation, distinguished Toastmaster and project manager, Mo Haji. Really, really appreciate the insights, your Toastmasters journey, how it can correlate directly to your professional career, which so many of the others in this Zoom room have that direct empathy with the profession. We really appreciate your time sharing that. We're now going to segue into the third segment of our meeting, which is evaluations, the gift of instant feedback. And that will be led, of course, by our general evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster, Eugenio Jaramillo. Over to you, Gino.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Before I call on our evaluator, I'll give a couple of comments on the meeting. Kudos, all the positive things are, number one, we started on time. I loved how our Toastmaster explained the Toastmaster's mission. I like seeing all these faces on camera. Most of you are on camera. That's an awesome thing. I missed that touch from the live meetings. The president was late. I love how Austin explained pathways, gave a little pitch on pathways. I don't know if we're having a vote counter or not. Probably not. And then a little tiny point of order on the functionaries. I like to call on the grammarian first so that the grammarian explains the word of the day and we all have a chance to use it. That being said, let's bring up our first evaluator and only evaluator tonight. He will be evaluating Mo Haji's speech on coaching. His name is John Moffat, and he is the president of Crossroads Toastmasters. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, warmly welcome guests, and Mo. Mo, so many things that you did great in your speech. 3 adjectives come to mind, and they are professional, prepared, and polished. I think you did all exceptionally well. So as we dive into your speech, what I'll do is I'll go over some more of the things that I thought you did exceptionally well, and I'll also go over a few suggestions as to how you might be able to take it up even to the next level. Let's jump right on in. First of all, I like the very beginning of your speech because you used all kinds of suspense techniques. I wanted to know where you were going. It was one acronym after another acronym, and I was like, where is he going with all these acronyms? So right from the start, you got my attention, which is great. Fantastic, well done. You follow that up with some interesting quotes, which I liked. If you have a chance, you may want to actually post those quotes somewhere where everyone can see them because that way it's easier to absorb, but I liked your quotes very much. Also, at the very end of your introduction part, you put a question in for us. You were like, who wants to improve? Who wants to improve their public speaking? Who wants to improve their leadership? So this set the exactly where you wanted to go with your speech. Good job. Your body language, I thought was very, very good. I like the way that you used it. A few times you would do things like this. You would say, what's next? And one time I think you even asked a question and sort of answered it yourself with a which I like that as well. Very good job there with the body language. One thing you may want to consider, I always say this, motion attracts attention. So if there's 5 pictures on the wall, one of them falls off, where's all of your attention? On the one picture that falls off, right? So what am I saying? You might want to try to stand up. I know it's a little confined here through Zoom, but I do like the aspect of speakers who move just a little bit, not overdoing it, but just a little bit of movement, I think could add even one more element to your speech and make it even more exceptional. Other things you did great. I love the fact that you engaged in a story. You talked about yourself. You talked about your journey through Toastmasters. You talked about joining in Weston. And also you talked about your evaluation. So this was a very personal thing. You were a little bit vulnerable, which helps you connect to the audience. You're like, hey, I wasn't perfect. I made mistakes and they told me what I did wrong. And now I know where I have to go with that. Very good job. I thought your pace was extremely controlled. I thought your voice inflection was very, very good. In fact, it feels almost like a talk instead of a speech. So you're able to connect just by the way that your pace and the inflection of your voice. Very good job. And finally, I just wanted to say that your conclusion was pretty good. I liked it. I liked that you had a quote at the end. I would say, as a suggestion, you may want to put that quote at the very beginning or towards the beginning, and then reconnect it again at the end. That way you have cohesiveness throughout the entire. Very, very good job. As far as other little points that I would have, I would just say, make sure you have a killer title at the beginning, something like coaching or killer coaching, something to bring it all together and get the excitement going for your speech. But overall, fantastic job. Like I said, very professional, very polished, and we could tell well prepared. And also, you're the perfect person for this speech because you're both a Toastmaster as well as a PMI member. Great job. Thanks for the speech. Look forward to hearing you again at some point in time. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
John, that was a marvelous evaluation. You did the sandwich technique where you say all the positive things, you sprinkled in between the meat of the sandwich, a couple of suggestions or opportunities for improvement, and then you closed it up with a nice summary, more positive things, and encouragement for him to continue. Next up is we call on our functionaries to see how everybody did. The first one I like to call is the timer to see how everybody did. Madam Timer.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Starting with our table topics. John was for 1 minute and 18 seconds. Tina, 42 seconds. William, 2 minutes and 7 seconds. And Howard, 1 minute and 31 seconds. Mo spoke for 8 minutes and 39 seconds. And John, as an evaluator, spoke for 3 minutes and 25 seconds.
Wow. John, you made it just under the wire because he gets 30-second leeway. But Mo, you did it again, the same as your icebreaker speech. I think you went a little bit over. I would have liked to seen Lois clap him off. But you were on a nice roll, great speech.
Thank you.
You were the perfect test speaker because of your experience with the PMPs and the PMI and Toastmasters. Pretty awesome. Let's hear from our grammarian. Jonathan, how did everybody do?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Everybody did fantastic tonight. A couple of people used the word of the day. Austin used it 3 times. Howard used it 3 times. Marilyn used it once. As far as some proper grammar or quotes that I heard, we humans need feedback to grow. It's not about how hard you fall, but how you get back up. You should never stop counting because if you do, you may be dead. There isn't a light at the end of the tunnel. You are the light. Professional, prepared, and polished. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Awesome. You can tell he was really listening. And that's one of the skills that Mo did not mention besides networking. The grammarian and the all counter really have to perk their ears up and listen. And that is a incredibly valuable skill that you learn at Toastmasters. Really listening. You can tell by all the quotes that he said and that people used the word of the day. I unfortunately did not. Our next, well, we don't have any more functionaries, but I did want to comment on the table topics master. Love the mastery of the questions. And you asked the question first and then called on the speaker. You kept the question short, not a lot of preamble. Very well done. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
You know, before I take over the lectern, may we hear from our all counter, Felicia Taylor?
Oh,
Unless
I'm
you're-
sorry, I
okay.
skipped them. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
skipped her.
Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you, Austin, and thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. During our table topics, we had 4 speakers. We had John, we had Tina, we had William, we had Howard, and only one out of those 4 speakers gave me an and that was William. So I thought that was outstanding. And During Mo's speech about coaching, it was him using, you hear me saying, just a couple of times he said, and then he had the filler word so, and that's all I saw there, heard there. And thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, because you are very correct. Listening is an important skill. It is probably the most important part of communication. Thank you. And back to
Apologize
you,
for
Austin.
not calling on you. I had it right here in my notes, staring me in the face. Totally missed it.
It's okay.
Now we go back to you, Austin Canonica, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Jaramillo, our general evaluator for today, and for everyone for filling a role. You'll notice none of us are perfect. We may have done this a million times before, just like we do a lot of things in projects over and over and over again, yet it's a new project, it's a new experience, and we're all here to support each other and lift each other up rather than point a finger and tell you you did something wrong. This is Toastmasters. I like to think of it as the playground with no bullies. We could all have fun here without feeling that we're going to be judged, mocked, ridiculed, or anything like that. And we could laugh at ourselves and have fun while we stumble every once in a while. It's okay. If it's not fun, it's not Toastmasters. Typically at this point of the meeting, as the Toastmaster of the day, I thank everyone for being here and I return the lectern back over to the president to conclude the meeting, go over some business things and that. Since this is a demonstration meeting, I wanted to talk up Toastmasters a little bit more and offer the remaining time for any questions that you inevitably have about joining. You'll also notice that in the chat, Rocky has posted several times for the survey, which we request each of you click that link and fill out that survey when you get a chance. Gino also notified me, and so did Lois, that right now Allison has her hand up, but I believe that's when Mo asked if anyone would raise your hands if you want to be a better speaker and leader. I noticed her hand shot right up there because she's interested in that. But Allison, if you have a question at this time, I'd love to answer it before I proceed forward. And that's okay if you don't leave your hand down. I'll just pretend that you don't have a question. But if you do, there's plenty of time to ask questions. I just want to make sure that we address that. The hand up, it's pretty good practice to ask if somebody has something that they needed to say. In talking up Toastmasters a little bit, I wanted to describe briefly some of the features, benefits, and values. I wanted to discuss the do's and what it would be like for your chapter to actually get underway should you decide to all become a Toastmasters group. The first thing that I'd like to say is that meetings like this can occur on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis, depending on the needs of your group, and it will follow that same format. Maybe your club adds another role, like Gino mentioned, a vote counter, so you could tally who is the best table topic speaker, who is the best speaker. That's optional. You could absolutely do that if that's what your group wants to do. But every single meeting we practice our public speaking, our active listening skills, evaluations, and we work on all of those skills every single meeting. All of those skills really build on one another. Like Gino said, counter and grammarian really activate those active listening skills. General evaluator and evaluator, it's a great way to practice giving feedback. As a speaker, you're going to receive a lot of feedback. Those are some of the benefits that you get from those weekly or bi-weekly meetings, whatever frequency that you meet. Typically, meetings are an hour, but if your group is so robust and you want to hang around for an hour and a half, 2 hours, clubs do that. It'll be up to you to determine the day you meet, the frequency with which you meet, the times you're meeting. It's your club. Some of the other aspects of the club outside of that everyday meeting would be the educational program we talked about, Pathways. Pathways involves communication and leadership projects to build a core foundation of becoming a better speaker and leader. And also there are specialized tracks based on what you're interested in. If you just want to focus on being a better presenter, you could do the presentation mastery. If you want to learn more about coaching, you could do a coaching like Mo is doing. If you want to be funny, there's a humorously speaking pathway where you could practice some of your funny bones that you may have. Pathways is a great way for you to build those basic foundational components of being a speaker and leader, but also specialized based on what you're really interested in. There are also speech contests for those of you that are competitive or interested in giving a speech with a little bit more higher stakes. We run 4 contests at the club level every year. Each of the winners of your club contest advance to the area contest, and it goes beyond to multiple levels. It's a really fun way to see how well you could do in a competition type style, and it's also a great way to network and get out there to some other Toastmasters members. There's one such contest, the International Speech Contest, that goes all the way to the world champion of public speaking. That's right. A member of this group could be anointed the world champion of public speaking for that given year, where you would eventually compete against the winners that trickled their way up from all over the world, clubs all over the world. Speaking of all over the world, Toastmasters International is an international organization. So a lot of members know their club really well, but then they start branching out to other clubs and get involved beyond the club level, which is something that you could do if you're interested. As a member of one Toastmasters club, you're a member of the entire organization, which means you could participate in other meetings, join in, and get the most out of the entire Toastmasters experience, again, if that's what you want to do. We also run what are referred to as Toastmasters Leadership Institutes, or TLIs as we call them, in which we train our club officers and also provide seminar workshops for members and even guests to learn about Toastmasters and also some of the other soft skills that we could benefit from that are centered in communication and leadership. I love those TLIs, and I always look forward to getting together with members from all over the district whenever we have those events. And again, if you're looking for training opportunities, ways to learn about leading in Toastmasters, those TLIs are really the place to be. We also run an annual conference every year where we have our district level contests. We also have more workshops and presentations, professional development opportunities. You know plenty about professional development opportunities as project managers. We love those conferences. Another great way to get involved with members all over the district. You've heard me mention that term district a couple times. What does that exactly mean? We happen to be in District 47 of Toastmasters International, which is comprised of Southeast Florida and the country of the Bahamas, which is really cool because our district is truly an international district. I love meeting with the Bahamian members all the time, and it's been a great way to expand my network beyond my little bubble here in Southeast Florida. Being a member of a district also means that as a club, you have the support of several district leaders. You'll have an area director that will oversee your club and support you directly, the liaison. You have a division director, like what Lois is doing this year and what Mo did last year, and those help those area directors be successful. And then as a member of the district, you also have the district to support you in a number of different ways to help provide you with resources, make you aware of some of those opportunities, the contests, the leadership trainings, the conference that exist, and it's just another layer of support. The phrase that I always like to use is that the district is here to support you, not to smother you. I cannot impress upon you enough that it will be your chapter. It will have your culture, and you will be the Toastmasters that are the leaders in this group. That's my little spiel about Toastmasters. I can go on all day about this, but I know some of you may be wondering, what's the commitment of joining a Toastmasters club? How much is this going to cost me? For the low, low rate of $7.50 a month, you become a member of Toastmasters International. Typically, membership happens 6 months at a time, which would be a commitment of $45 at a time. But because we're in the middle of a pandemic now, Toastmasters International has elected to waive some of the fees associated with chartering a new Toastmasters club. For example, every newly chartered Toastmasters club pays a $125 charter fee. And also every brand new member, which is standard, but the charter members even pay a $20 fee to start up their membership. Toastmasters is waiving those fees until the end of June, which means the only dues that you are paying to start this club are your individual membership dues. Here's the caveat. That $20 member fee that's being waived is only for the first 20 brand new members of the charter group. We need at least 20 individuals to charter a newly Toastmasters club. Therefore, we are encouraging you to fill out that survey that Rocky has posted indicating you're looking to join this group. And the first 20 to commit saying I am in it to win it will be the ones that get that fee waived. We'll talk about what it would mean for members that would join in excess of that 20, but first we need the commitment of at least 20 people to get the club chartered. The other caveat is that not only are you going to be joining for 6 months, you will be joining for 10 months to start your membership. Typically, the membership cycles run from October to the end of March, and then the beginning of April to the end of September. And what this incentive ensures is that you are going to get right on that natural cycle of when you would normally pay your dues. If you were to charter right now or on June 1st, your membership would go to March of 2022, which means you could skip that renewal cycle in October and know that you are a Toastmasters member for 10 months. Then at that point, your group could either determine we are going to do annual dues or biannual dues, which most clubs do, in which case you would then renew for another 6 months at a time to continue your membership. Those are the basic facts about Toastmasters. And I know that some of you might have some questions in addition to what I've already described. I would love for anyone to unmute themselves and ask that question. You could post it in the chat, but I would love for you to ask either myself or any of our other experienced Toastmasters here if you have any questions.
No question, but a comment. Great talk, Austin. As someone from your generation, I find it rare to find someone who can do that. So kudos to you and keep your gen coming.
Thank you so much, Tina. I always love to represent, but one cool thing about Toastmasters is you're going to meet people from all walks of life, which is really cool. This
No,
group-
that's true. No, it's true. But I just want to really say that because we are having, some of us in my gen are having trouble with people in your gen. And that's why I just went back to college so I can help pass the torch. So I want to say, good job.
Thank you so much. And I also wanted to add, I noticed that Mo didn't mention this directly in his speech, but Mo, would you want to, I know what you're going to say. Please take it away, Mo.
Yes, I just wanted to talk to you about the education and giving back credits, PDUs that you can get. It's amazing. All of these years that I've been a member of Toastmasters, I've been using Toastmasters to renew my credentials as a PMP. So for every hour of going to a Toastmaster function, you will get 1 credit. So imagine if your club meets once a week, how many credits can you accumulate over a year? So it goes a lot to your education, both the technical, leadership, strategic. Those are 8 points. You can get those. And in giving back, the work as a practitioner, definitely you work as a practitioner, that's about 7 points, but the other giving back, that's 18 PDUs that you can get. So Toastmaster will help you get as many points for your PDUs. Instead of taking these very expensive courses and doing other things, and that might cost a lot more money, you can get your PDUs with Toastmasters. That's what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you so much, Mo. I greatly appreciate that. And that is an important detail to note for this group specifically. One of the things I always like to say is that the clubs have their own culture and they could really thrive within that club environment. I know that each of you could support each other in that regard, making sure that you're keeping up with your credentials. 2 for 1, in my opinion. Toastmasters is fun regardless. If you can get some official credit for it too, go for it. And speaking of credit, for those of you that are achievement oriented, you'll notice some of us have that distinguished Toastmaster title. The DTM is the highest accolade you could achieve as a Toastmaster for both displaying proficiency in public speaking and leadership. William, do you want to talk about that a little bit? I see your hand is up now too, or maybe you were just agreeing with me that yes, the DTM is a thing, because I know you're a DTM yourself. I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak.
Just real quick. I was encouraged to become a DTM. At first, I thought it meant a dinosaur Toastmaster, but it didn't. And so once I achieved the DTM, well, before I achieved it, I saw someone on LinkedIn that had PMP, DTM. I said, that's what I want to get one day, and was able to do that. So I would encourage all of us, especially those that are project managers, you'll talk the same language, you'll be amongst your fellow PMs, BAs, whatever, as Mo talked about. So it will be well worth the investment if you do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Kennedy. Go ahead, Marilyn, please.
I want to add one more thing. Remember that all the accomplishment you have done in Toastmasters, you can all put that in resume. So when people look at your resume and know you are part of the Toastmasters, they say, oh, you know how to communicate. You must have a great leadership skill. So that is a great thing to have. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Marilyn, you're a distinguished Toastmaster too, correct? Yes. Thank you so much. I forgot. I did not preface that, but yes, that is absolutely amazing. And
That's
I
why
agree.
she brought it to the chapter, Austin.
There we
1 +
go.
1 = 2.
And I also agree with Marilyn, because if you indicate that you're a Toastmaster, if somebody knows what that means, they know what you've been doing and what you're up to. And if they don't, it's a great opportunity for you to describe it as a Toastmaster would in a concise way, effectively doing so. We only have about 5 more minutes. Lois, please. Distinguished Toastmaster Margolin.
Thank you. I did want to mention that once you start the club, you will have 2 Toastmasters that will be taking you along on this journey. They will be with you for over 6 months to make sure that you understand all the ins and outs, besides Marilyn and John, who I know will obviously be here, and Mo will be here, but you will make sure that you have people that will be there for you, mentor you, and make sure you get the best you can get out of your Toastmaster journey. Back to you, Austin.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lois. A lot of love in the room. I could not agree with you more. You will have the support that you need to be successful long after you charter. That's one of our guarantees as a district. We only have about 4 more minutes now. I think it's a good time to just reiterate, please fill out that survey if you haven't already done it. Rocky has posted it several times. Indicate whether or not you would like to be a part of this chapter, which we are looking to form. And remember that the first 20 to indicate I'm in it to win it will get that $20 waived. In excess of 20, we will have those conversations and figure out the best way to support you in that way. But that wraps it up for me. That was all that I had. If any of you need to reach out to me, you may contact me at any time. I will put my information in the chat, and I'll return it back to either Shivani or Marilyn to say the departing words to the group here.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, especially for our district leaders who took so much. How many months we have planned this one? Like since September, right? So this is the show we provide, and I hope you enjoyed it. And it is really a benefit for us, especially for the chapter, the members to join. And just assume, like I know Tina mentioned, some of you might consider the money is the issue, right? But do not worry. When we have the meeting, when we charter, you're welcome to come as a guest, as long as you want, until you make your commitment to join. We are not going to kick you out. We are not going to exclude anybody who is not a member. Well, guests are always welcome. I just want to let you know that. All right. With that, I will thank you. And one more thing, we will send you a registration link. We have a page already set up. If you're interested, you can register and then pay. And then eventually, when we have more than 20 people, we are going to charter the club. Then we will call a meeting to decide what is the name and time and whole night yards. Right? Anybody have any comments?
I would like to add to what you said, Marilyn. To all who have joined us today, this is PMI South Florida Toastmasters Club. So this is a great opportunity to develop, to learn, to grow in project management community. So I would say this is a chance for all of us to join the club, make it success, learn, help ourselves, help our communication skills, our leadership skills. So this is an awesome opportunity. Looking forward from all of you here to register and move forward. Thank you.
And a great member value, right, Shivani? Great member value.
Thank you, President, for the conclusion. Well, thank you so much. Have an awesome Wednesday evening. All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
And thank you for coming.
Have a good night.
Let's do this again sometime.
Yes, thank you,
absolutely.
Austin.
Thank you, Marilyn and John. And
Thank
Mo,
you,
for all your
everybody.
hard work. And thank you,
Bye.
Gino, if he's still on.
Yes, Gino, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for the speech.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Thank you.